multiple ways in which you can work with Git. So one of the ways is command line. You can go ahead and work with Git on the command line. One of the ways is on the UI. So both the ways are very famous. And when you're working with Azure DevOps, you mostly work with it using Visual Studio. So you have multiple ways when you work with Git. So if I just go to one of the folders, so if you just look at this Angular application, I have created an Angular application. It's not our purpose to learn Angular, right? So just an app which I want to add to Git. So to add to Git, I can do like this. First, I need to have Git installed on my machine. So go ahead and install Git on your machine. I hope I already told that to you. I don't know. I take so many classes, I don't know. So once you have installed Git, then you will be seeing this. Right click, Git bash here. This icon. Once I say that, you see that this prompt will be open. So I'll just maximize it to that extent. We'll just maximize this. So here is where I can go ahead and play around with this Git folder. How can I do that? There is very straightforward GitHub documentation which is available to me, wherein I can add something which is existing to the new project, to the repository. I don't want to create a new repository in GitHub and then add this code, because we will not add it to GitHub. We will add it to Azure DevOps. What I'm showing you here is how you can add a particular repository to anything, a very generic stuff. What I need to do first, I need to say git init. What will this command do? It will initialize your repository to Git, and it will drop a folder in your application .git folder. This is where Git tracks you. So even Azure DevOps, when you are working with it, you will see the .git folder. What does that mean? Azure DevOps is using Git. That's why we are understanding Git here, because Azure DevOps extensively uses Git. So you have Git and you have multiple folders here. Essentially, we need not understand these folders. This is how Git tracks different branches. You have different branches which you create when you are working with your Git. Like yesterday we saw a few, right? We saw this. So we went ahead in the repos. We created another branch. We created 3 branches. I can see that 3 branches are present here. Master branch, master clone, and another branch. Yesterday we created this, right? Hope you remember. I can create multiple branches in my Git repo, and all those branches are tracked here inside the references, inside the refs folder. And all my logs, whatever is happening with my code in the repository, all of that are present within the logs folder. So this is where all of your logging is being done for your specific repository. All of these are taken care of by Git. We need not worry more about this folder. Just understand, whenever I am doing Git init, as I just did, the git init, it will go ahead and initialize my repository so that it is understandable by Git by dropping these folders. These are the folders which are understandable by Git. That is what it did when I did git init. What is the next command which I need to do? Git add dot. What will this do? It will add the files of your local repository and stage them. What do you mean by stage? Yesterday we said there are multiple um, stages which your code goes through. Staging area. We spoke about the areas of Git. What will this command do? The git add dot. It will take your code, what you just added, what you have, to the staging area. So if I just say git add dot, it executed fine, no errors. What did it do? It went ahead and added the files to the staging area. That is what it did. Then you have commit. What are you doing when you are doing commit? This is what is important. Commit essentially is committing it to the local repository. You are not committing it to the central repository. You are committing it to the local repository. Then you need to, when you want to commit it to the central repository, you will do a push. There is a difference between commit and push. So if you just see git commit -m, he is just giving a comment. We need not bother about all this. I'll tell you why. If you just look at this, git commit -m first commit, it went ahead and committed my branch and it stored it under the first commit. So what did it do in this line of code is essentially it went ahead and committed my code into the local repository which is present in my box. All of this is a black box. We can't see the local repository, but just understand it because it went fine. It is saying it is not giving me any complaints. That is how I understand. Once that is done, that is when you will go ahead and add the origin. Origin essentially is your GitHub repository. Wherever is your GitHub repository's repo, that is what is the origin. So you will give the origin here, then you will go ahead and push. That's your main command, git push. All of this, I am just running through it and showing you like this. All of this we need not worry about. Why? Because once I start working with Git using Visual Studio, why you need not worry about it, I will just tell you. Or in our example, we are working with Angular code, right? You saw Angular code here. These are Angular code. I need not worry about push, pull, sync, and stuff. Let me just open VS Code. We'll see Visual Studio code. If this has opened, we'll just say this. So if I just go with anything which I usually work with, just a minute. So what is it that you have here? I don't know how visible that is. I can't maximize it. You have fetch, you have pull, you have push, you have actions button, and I can have other actions. You have these are Git commands. Whatever I gave here, or git commit. I can commit my code from here. How will I commit my code? I can go to changes. Whatever are my changes, I can go ahead and commit. So if I just have a change in my repository, I'll just open the repository so that it is clear for you. You need not worry about these commands is what I'm saying. It is all straightforward. Once you are working with Visual Studio, it's all straightforward for you. You need not remember these commands, but you should know about these commands. Once I open the project, let it open. Once I open the project, as you can see, let me minimize this. If I have any changes, this is a change. If you see, there are multiple nodes. We'll speak about all these nodes. Go to changes because I changed something, right? Go to changes. It shows you what is the change. I can say view compare with unmodified. It will give me what is the change which I just did. I just have a comment. If you look at giving a comment, just simple comment, look at that. I have commit all. That is what is a git command. Git commit. I have commit all and push. That is what is another command which is present here. Git push. I have commit all and sync. There is no sync command inside here in this page at least. That is another git command. All of your git commands are present here in my Visual Studio. I can directly click, and I'll be done with checking in my changes. If I go to sync, I can do push button click. I can just say push. I can say pull, fetch. All of these are commands now. I need not worry about CLI. Where did we divert from? We diverted from here. What are the two ways of working with it? One is command line, which we need not work. But I just wanted to show you how hard it is to work with command line. Command line arguments, you need to give it in your git bash, and you can see that it is pretty black and white, and you can miss out some things and it's not clear. So for a first time developer, for a first time person who is working on Git, it's not pretty straightforward. Another way is UI. I can use the UI. What is the UI which I'm using? I'm using Visual Studio. I can directly use the UI and trigger these Git commands without remembering any of these commands. Once I understand these commands, all I need to do is trigger these commands and execute these commands on my branch. So that's how straightforward it is for us to work with Git. We need not worry more about the command line argument. We can just ignore it. Even though they are there, we can just ignore it and we can only work with the UI. That is what I wanted to highlight. So using the UI for Git, what are the different things which you have? GitHub Desktop is a there is a question. 1 second. To do these operations, we need to create a project with Git source control instead of TFS. That's correct. Otherwise, it will not work. It should be Git source control. Otherwise, it will not work. While creating the project, you have to create it using Git source control. If you use TFS, it will not. All of these commands will not be there. You will not see this window only. TFS, Visual Studio understands TFS, and it will not show you all this. It will not show you all these commands. Sync. You will not see this fetch, pull, push. You will not see all this. Only when you create it as a Git repository. Go to my repository. This is a Visual Studio project. I am creating it in C#. all of this code is C sharp. I train on C sharp as well, right? So that's why I have all the C sharp code. If you go on to my open container folder and see this, what is this? Just now we spoke about it. .git. I created it as a Git repository. That is why my Visual Studio is showing me Git commands. If I created it as TFS, you would have .tfs or some other folder here. That would make Visual Studio understand it is TFS repository, and it will show TFS commands, not Git commands. How is it understanding it? Because of this .git folder. I created it as .git. Got it? I hope you got it. Yeah. So essentially, I created it as .git, as a Git folder, as a Git repository. That's why it is working, and I'm getting all these commands. Visual Studio understands it. Visual Studio understands whether something is a Git project or a TFS project by looking at the .git folder. So, coming back, what are the other ways apart from Visual Studio? You have GitHub Desktop. This is another way wherein you can go ahead and work on the desktop and work with Git. Your source tree. This is another tool you can use to work with Git. You have Git Kraken. That is another tool. Git extensions. Here you can install Git extensions on any tool. Like I have Visual Studio Code. So if I just open Visual Studio Code here, how will I open Visual Studio Code here? I'll just say cmd code dot. I opened Visual Studio Code. This is not Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code. You see, go ahead and look at my branch. It will get the source control. It will take some time. Once it gets it, let it just initialize. So it is doing initializing. Let it initialize. Get me the branch. Got the branch. You see the commands. Commit all. Commit stage. We were speaking about stage, right? Stage all. Apply. These are all Git commands. Pull, push, sync. Whatever you are seeing here, pull, push, sync, and stuff. All of that are also present in VS Code. I can work with Git using VS Code. I can work with Git using Visual Studio. You name any IDE. I can work with Git using those IDEs. So I always work with Git day in, day out. So I work with it like this. I don't work with it through the command lines, but I know commands. So just to have a flavor of commands, just look at the commands. How Git commands are. Just look at the commands. Why? Because it is a very famous repository which can be used across different editors. You open Eclipse, you can use it with Eclipse as well. You can open Atom, which is another editor. You can work it with Atom as well. WebStorm, that is another editor. You have multiple editors which will support Git. So Git is a very famous repository, and it is also supported by Azure DevOps. So coming back to our discussion, Git extension. I have a Git extension installed inside my Visual Studio Code. That's why I am seeing this. That's why I'm seeing all this. I have an extension. So that is another way of working with Git. I can have Git extensions installed. These are multiple ways in which you can have Git installed onto your local repository. So where all it is supported? It's supported in Windows, Mac, Linux. You name the operating system which are famous out there. It is supported by all of these operating systems. So Windows, Mac, and Linux and stuff. Where can I download Git? We have already seen this. I already asked you to download it from the official website. You'll get multiple links. Just go to Git SCM, Source Control Management. So go to git-acl.com/downloads, git download and install Git from there. It's a very famous extension. When you're working with Azure DevOps, you need to work with Git. So that's your cheat sheet. Essentially, I want to know Git, and I want to know what are the different ways in which I can work with Git. That is what I'm just knowing it. Do I need to remember these commands? No. Why? Why should I not remember these commands? I'll work with it like this. I'll not remember the commands. So it is just for the sake of understanding that how do you use Git commands. I just need to have some idea. Just go ahead and look for Git cheat sheet or Git commands online. You will land up in multiple pages. So it's nothing like only I have it. You say Git cheat sheet. Go to images. There are multiple websites giving you clues. Open image in new tab so that it is bigger. It's not opening. Yeah, that's not better. You see that? How can I create a Git repo using command line? How can I have my local changes added? How can I commit my history, update, publish? All of that these are all Git commands which are present online. You have cheat sheet. You have so many websites helping you with Git. It's a pretty long list. So you can just look at the cheat sheet and look at what are the commands which you have on Git. It is just for knowledge. You need not work on it because we will work on it using Visual Studio. So what are the terminologies you need to understand when you come from a TFS world? I have people from TFS world. I think Lakshminarayana is also from TFS world. So it would be easier for you to map the commands in that world with the Git world if you have something like this. What am I doing here? You say check-in inside TFS. Here you don't say check-in. You say commit and push. Why two? Why not one? Why are there two commands in Git? Any answer? Why are there two commands inside Git instead of just one command? Why is it that way? Any answer? We've already discussed this. Why are there two commands? Anyone can speak or type. It's your wish. I have commit and then push. Why do I have two steps? Yeah, that's correct. So you're on point.
I think it pushes only to our local branch.
Yeah. Commit is to local branch.
Yeah.
Push is to remote branch. So
sorry,
push is to remote.
Okay.
Commit is to local. Okay. Got the difference? Commit is to local branch. So push is to remote repository. Yeah, you need to also push it to the web, right? You are pushing it. Commit is you are pushing it to the local, which is in my laptop. Push is to the remote. That's why there are two commands. Just remember this. Commit doesn't end the job. If you commit the code and keep refreshing your browser, nothing will happen. Initially, when people work on Git, what they do, they will do commit from the Visual Studio. They go ahead, go to changes, comment, and then they say commit. Once they say commit, they keep on refreshing the browser, and they'll see why is my code not coming. It's not coming because you did not push it. You committed it to your local repo. Understanding that difference is very important. You have a local repo and a global repo. Local repo, commit. So people commit and then start refreshing the browser and seeing in Azure DevOps. And Azure DevOps doesn't show the changes. So that is one amateur thing, wherein we need to understand the repository, what we are working with. We are not working with TFS. TFS check-in, it's available. I can refresh and see the code. Here commit and then push and then only I can see the code. That is where your two-step procedure. Then to get the latest code, what will I do? Get latest version inside TFS. Here, what will I do? Here, I'll just say pull. When I want to map to local path, when I want to get the code from the remote repository into my local path, what will I do? I'll say map to local path. From my remote repository, if I want to get it to my laptop, I will say map to local path. What will I do in Git world? If I want to say from remote repository into my local path, I'll say clone. You will see the clone option also in Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps, you see clone. These are all Git commands. I click on clone. I'll take that cloned URL. I'll take that URL and copy that into my local machine. I'll clone the repository. I'll not map to local path. So this is in the TFS world. Once I want to shell something, I don't want to check in. There is one thing called as check in. Changes will keep it ready for check-in. Later it is called yeah, that's correct. That is what it is. Shell and shell is that is what it is. So I have some code. I don't want to push it to repository. I just want to store it inside the intermediate state. My friends or my co-developers should not see it. Then I'll do a shell. What will shell do? It will push it to the repository. It will push it to the server and store it in the server. But it will not push it to the repo. Repo is still clean. It is an intermediate state. That is what is shell. If you have any programming background, you will definitely understand this. Without programming background, yeah, I'm just telling you that it is the intermediate state, wherein you will put your, yeah, you can call it staging. It's a staging kind of stage. So you can call it staging. That's what it is. It is an intermediate state. It is not yet there, but it is there in the server. It is in the server, but it's not in the repository. You are, why will I shell? I want to share my code with my co-developers. I want to save my work. End of the day, my laptop can crash. So I want to save my work. What will I do? I'll shell my code and leave for the day. That is what I do. Because I am keeping my code safe. What is shell in Git world? It is stash. So stash essentially is shell. It is also an intermediate state which your code will go to. Next thing, you have labeling. Why do you label things? When there is a release, a release of your product. Right? So when I'm releasing my product, what I'll do, I'll label the code, label the entire repository. Once I label the repository, that's when I'll go ahead and release the product. Release the product to what? Production. I'll release the product to production once I label the code. That is what is called labeling. What will happen? Once release is done, I'll keep modifying it for another 1 month. There is a production issue which came after 1 month. In 1 month, I made so many changes to my code. Once it is done, once 1 month is done, there are so many changes. There is a P1 issue in production. But whatever code I released, that's not the code what I have after 1 month. I have so many changes. I don't want to push these changes. I need to still test it. The next release is after 2 months. What will I do? I will use the label to pull the production repository back. Once I use the label, I'll get the release version back. Then using label, I'll get the release version. Once I get the release version, I'll fix the code, fix the issue, and push to production. And I'll get back to work. I did not do anything with regarding to these changes. Why? Because I have labeled my code. That is what is called as labeling. You label your code whenever you are going to production. This is a usual practice in TFS, which is also there in Git. You say tag. You tag your code inside Git. You label your code inside your TFS world. Compare with compare local to server is what you do inside TFS. You do fetch. Fetch essentially is there are different things. Um, 1 second, there is a question. How to label or tag? Essentially, label you will go ahead and do it in TFS. You will go ahead and you will have an option to label your source code. You would be having something like label. Here you have tag. You can see tags there. I can go ahead and tag my source control. I'll say tag this guy with whatever is my tag name, and it will store that tag. So I'll go ahead and tag my thing. I'll create a new tag. I'll create a create branch from tag. I have multiple ways in which I can go ahead and do it. This is the option. What you see here, tags. Label. You will see label here when you are working with TFS. Now we are in the Git world. So Git is tags. So that is where we do it inside the tags node. Got it? So that is where we do it. So if you have so if you have any other question, you can ask me. So where was I? I was doing something. Yeah, fetch. I got that. So you have something like push. Push is take my changes and push it to repo, your remote repository. Pull. Take remote repository changes. Take repo changes and give it to me. Sync. What is sync? You are when you are doing a sync, you are doing a merge. If there are any changes in your local in this file, gradebook, if there are any changes, I will merge those changes with the remote repository changes. And if there are any changes here, I will merge those changes with the incoming changes. Essentially, what I'll do in sync is I will merge the content. Merging, if at all, the other developer also has changed this line, the 9th line of code, what you see here, or the 8th line of code. If he has changed the same line, then there will be a merge conflict. That's where you will go ahead and resolve conflict. And you will merge changes. That's where you will do that. So you will merge the changes and resolve the conflicts when you do the sync. Sync is essentially merge. That's what it is doing. What is fetch? Fetch is pull, but don't merge. Don't merge my changes. Just pull the changes from the remote repository. That's what I'm doing when I'm doing the fetch. Those are different commands you have, and that is what is the equivalent of compare local to server. Essentially, you are pulling the local changes, the server changes into your local changes. That is where you are doing inside the fetch. So if you have any TFS background, then this is a very straightforward thing for you to understand. But if you don't have a TFS background, then directly understand the Git part of it. Don't understand the TFS part of it. You can directly go ahead and work with Git. You don't have any. There is a question. Let me just check that. Okay. Fetch essentially, you are saying give me the content from the remote repository. You have a fetch here. You have a fetch here. So fetch essentially is give me the content from remote repository, but don't merge it. I don't want it to be merged. My local changes have to be intact because I have a change here. I have a change here. I have changed this line. I don't want this file to be merged. This file has to be intact. Don't touch this file. Give me other files. That is what is fetch. Your sync will merge the things. It will go ahead and merge this line with the line which it sees in the repository. It merges it. If there are any conflicts, it shows the conflicts. Fetch is you do not want to see any conflicts. You just want to get the latest. Yeah, that's correct. Get new changes, but if there is a catch. If that new change is it the same line, I don't care about that change. Don't give me that change. I am worried about my local changes. My first priority is my local changes. My local changes should not be disturbed. And give me all your new changes. If your new change has to do with the same file, with the same gradebook file, don't give me that. I don't care. That's what I'm saying with fetch. Don't give me the changes on which I am working on. Don't give me those file changes. Remaining all, yeah, give it to me. That is what is fetch. Okay, got it? Or should I repeat it in some other way? Got that? Fetch thing? Yeah. Okay. So that's what is your fetch of your Git. So those are the different commands you have on Git. So that's your Git command, one chart wherein you can see all the commands. I want something from my remote repository into my local repository. I do a clone. I'll not go here, I'll come there. I want to push my changes. I want to push my changes from my local repository into the remote repository. I'll do a push. I want to fetch. We just discussed about fetch. What is it? Don't tamper my local changes. Just give me new changes. My local changes are important to me. I don't want you to merge the changes. I'm working on something. Don't tamper my changes. Give me something which is new. That's why the dotted line. Pull. Give me the changes. Also merge the changes. You are pulling the content when you are doing the pull. Give me the changes, but also merge it. Here, don't merge it. That's why pull and fetch are related. They both are doing the same thing. You are getting something from the remote repository. You are doing the same thing in pull, same thing in fetch. This would be something like your interview question. If at all the interviewer is more interested in confusing you, he would stress more on it. So that's your pull and fetch. Essentially, merge it is what is pull. Fetch is don't merge it. My local changes are more important. Once you have the changes in your working directory, then you will stage your changes. That is what is your staging area. And once you are having the changes in the staging area, that's when you go ahead and push it to your remote repository. We have someone left. Okay. I think some power problem happens. So we have a local repository. Once we have changes in the local repository, what are we doing? We are pushing the content into the remote repository. So we just do a live demo of the same. I have a Git repository which is already handy with me. What I have this is C# fundamentals. Let me go to the course. So we have C# fundamentals, go to repos. I have repos. I'm in fields and properties. Fields and properties. What is this file? Gradebook.cs. So I'm connected to Azure DevOps and I have cloned this repository. How did I clone this repository? I'll come to that. We are just speaking about um, the commands of Git. So that's what our concentration is. We'll come back to what we do, what we want to, how we want to clone the repository. We'll come back to that. So I'll add another comment. If you see here, you don't have these two lines of code here. These two lines of code are not present here. And how did I come here? My repository, my local environment, I would be in Solution Explorer. Go to Team Explorer. You will see multiple options. Go to Changes. That's where I see what are the changes I've done. You can see what is there in the remote repository and what is there in your local repository. Compare with unmodified. What did I just do? I just did right click, compare with unmodified. I'm just comparing it. What did I do and what is there in the server? This is what is my local change on the right hand side. Left hand side is what is the server change. This is what I added. So it clearly says the green, which is not present in the remote repository. So it is clearly saying you have added these two lines and you don't have these two lines inside your remote repository. That is correct. I will go ahead and commit. A regular developer, I'll go ahead and commit. I have committed it. It even gave me a commit ID. But if I refresh this is what you do initially when you work with Git coming from TFS. You do a commit and you don't see the changes. Why? Commit actually took my code into the local repository in my laptop. It is in my laptop. In my laptop's repository. Why? You should understand Git properly because Git will give you a local repo. Yeah, you need to push as well. So Git will give you a local repo. So you have checked in into your local repository. Now you need to push it to your remote repository. How do you do that? Go ahead and do the sync. Instead of pushing, I'm doing the sync. What I'm saying, take my changes to global and get global changes to local. Sync will do both. Push, take my changes to global. Don't get my global changes to local. So I want both ways. So I'll do a sync. It's your wish. You want to do a sync or push. It's your wish. Both are doing the same thing. But sync essentially giving me the global repository changes into my local repository. I'll say sync. Now you see this guy going. So that's where it is syncing. It will do the push, then it will do the pull. You'll see both. If at all it is slow, then you will see both. If at all it is fast, then it will just zoom. Pull, push. You got both. So it will pull and also push. is done, successfully committed. Once it gives you a success, refresh your repository in Azure DevOps. You see the changes which you just checked there. I added 2 comments which we did not see previously. Now those 2 comments are there inside my repository. That is what is your sync. What is the other thing which we wanted to see? Remove these 2 comments. I don't like those comments. Save it. I have one more modification. What is it saying? In my local repo, I don't have the comments. In the repository on the server, I have the comments intact. I want to delete it. I want to commit these changes which I have in my local. There is no comments. I removed these comments. Now these comments should go away from a remote repository. I will do remove comments. Give a comment. Instead of commit all, I have commit all and sync and commit all and push. Instead of doing it 2 times, the button itself is available to me directly. So instead of going there, I just went there and did a sync, right? Instead of so many clicks, Microsoft has given me to work with it directly. Commit all and sync. I'll just click that button. It will commit, give me a commit ID. It will go ahead and sync, and you will see the pop-up. It will pull, push. All of that in one step. That's what is your commit all and sync. Once it is done with all of that, I go and refresh. I should not see the comments because I removed the comments, right? All of that done in one button click. Because this is a repeated operation, Microsoft gave me that in one go. Instead of me doing it in 2 times, you don't see the comment. All operations which we do with Git, shall we do the same like rebase? You don't require rebase. There are a few things which you don't require, like rebase. It's not required if you are working with actual Git. That's where you will do it. That's where what you do with rebase and stuff like that. There are many things which are not required once you are working with Visual Studio. And Azure DevOps clearly works with Visual Studio. Don't use it. Doesn't use rebase and stuff. You don't have that option only. Inside all the options, you don't have the rebase option. If I go to home, you don't have the rebase option and stuff. So you need not do it. We can just ignore that, think that it is not there, and we can work directly with Git. And whenever I'm working with Git, can I show you that? Yeah. Look at what all commands are happening in the backend. It is doing a whenever I do a sync, it should do a sync in the backend. So it is not showing me in Git source control output. Usually, whenever I do a push or a sync, this is where I see that it is firing the commands in the backend because Visual Studio is still working with Git. I am working with it in a fancy way. I am going ahead and working with it in a fancy way by just sync, clicking on buttons. Even though I am working with it in a fancy way, it will still go ahead and work with Git. Visual Studio is working with Git. When you are working with Git, you essentially have the same set of commands which it needs to fire. Just sync and pull and push and stuff. All of that are happening in the backend. Let me just see if pull is shown. I'll do a pull. Let me see if pull is shown. If it doesn't show it, we'll just ignore it. It is still the stale comment. It did not refresh. It is the old comment. So essentially my output is not refreshing. If it refreshed, it will definitely show me the commands which are fired in the backend. I need not worry about backend commands. They are anyway being fired. It is anyway working with Git and getting the things done. So these are the things wherein sync, fetch, pull, push. These are the things which we do on my GitHub repo. Coming to branches, I can have multiple branches. I create one branch per topic. in whatever topic I discuss. So I have multiple branches and I can work with multiple branches, and your remote and local branches are not the same. Your remote branches, if I created a new branch here in the remote repository, I don't want to create it here in my clean repo. This is something which I use day in, day out. I don't want to do that here. Let me do it in my other repo, which I don't use. If I create a new branch here, I'll say product branch, I'll say create branch. If I create a new branch here, this is what would be appearing inside the remote's origin branches. And this branch, what I just created, I'm not connected to this repo, right? So I can't show you that. So whatever is created just now is what is present inside the remotes. What you have pulled to your local repository, that is what is present in the local. So there will be two nodes. One node speaking about what you have pulled to your local repo. Second, it will show you what is present in the remote repo which you did not yet pull. All of that would be shown here. In a real-time scenario, different developers would be working on different branches. You would not get all the branches in your local repository. You would never do it. That is where you will see what I need to pull, take that and double click and get that branch onto your local repository. That is what I do in my real-time scenario. That's to do with branches. We'll speak more about branches. We are close to close. I have another session to run. So we'll speak more about branches and Git, and then move on to the next topics of discussion. Okay. So that's pretty much about what I wanted to discuss today. So we'll meet again tomorrow, same time. Okay. So any questions you have before we close for the day, or how's it? Same, Git. We'll keep speaking about Git until we are done with this topic. Then we'll move on to the next topic. Again, Git and Git commands, and working with Git with Visual Studio. Git hooks, we'll just see. We don't require to work with Git hooks when we are working with Visual Studio because it is Azure DevOps. You need not be very much Git specific. It's not that deeper into Git when you are working with Azure DevOps and Git. It's pretty straightforward. We did not go deeper into Git commands. We can ignore many of the commands. Almost 60% of the commands we can ignore. Only the main commands we need to concentrate on. We'll just stress on those and then we will move to the next topic. So Git is our next topic as well. We can explore more on that if you want to learn. Okay. So we'll meet again tomorrow.